But wait, there's more! Of course, when I finished the second video, I remembered stuff I'd forgotten to tell you about. And let's see if I can make this a little quicker. First of all, remember I told you in video the one that we had people who would steal calling card numbers? Well, back in tech days, when days of old, when tech was bold, there was such a thing as a black box. And people would, when the operator came on, put this box up to the payphone, and it would imitate or somehow trigger the sound of coins falling. So we would always see when people, remember, this was when people actually used coins for phone calls. Usually we would see people counting, put in the nickels, whatever, and we'd see the little count go 5, 10, 15 cents, whatever, $2, which took forever and ever, especially if you were calling Islamabad. But this machine actually imitated or triggered the phone to count. Ting, 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 ting. And this was, again, one of those things we could not for sure say that there was someone defrauding us. But there was an awful lot of phone fraud in those days, a tremendous amount. Like I said, the calling cards, numbers, people stealing them, and this ting, ting, ting thing. Forgot totally about that. I realized when I went to my therapist not too long ago that I am actually in the very same building, Building 8, that was the phone substation at the time. And it only seemed to have lasted a few years. I don't know why we were there. Like I said, I think it was an interim thing when they were converting over. And I did let slip the number, the name of the company I worked for. Yes, it was AT&T. And we used AT&T USA Direct to help the servicemen. And we had a little cassette. Since we would have to say, AT&T USA Direct, how may I help you? Hundreds of times at a shift. We actually went in at one point and recorded ourselves on a little cassette saying, AT&T USA Direct, how may I help you? And we would have this with us. So when we were at our station in the pod, we would push this little cassette in and hit the button. And then when they did talk to us, we would come back with our human voices. But I'm wondering if is there somewhere a giant stash of mini cassettes with poor mechs like me, Zex-Mex, not Tex-Mex, AT&T USA Direct, how may we help you? I remember talking to lonely boys overseas. I remember one soldier in particular, he was stationed in some hotel or something. I don't know if it was commandeered. He was talking about the pool and stuff. And I believe nowadays you can send calling cards to servicemen, but I guess back when we could do this, we had these phones set up. I also laugh thinking of the incredible mispronunciations and stupidity of the average American caller. People who would call Tenafly, New Jersey. People who had friends in Austria, not knowing that Austria was a country. It was an incredible time. I know I'm going to be forgetting things, but I figure as long as I've got the afternoon, I could tell you a few more operator tales. And I'm not denigrating the company at all. They were good to us. They were as good as they could be. I remember once we were going to have like an ethnic day, and we brought in Passover foods, and I brought in macaroons, and they made chicken. But it happened also to be Good Friday, so people couldn't partake, or rather chose not to partake. I mean, the workers were good. The managers were probably paid 8 cents a day more than we were. I never had any complaint whatsoever with the work staff. We really couldn't even talk to each other. I also remember we had payroll come once a week, because we actually got paid weekly, and the bank would come there and we could cash our checks, which was incredibly important for people who had crazy ass shifts like we did. So, I think they really did all they could at the time for us. And like I said, I was suspended for a couple of things. I was once suspended for supposedly laughing, which I never did. I didn't really start laughing until about 2010, so I don't know. It could be that when I was plugged in, they thought I was the prior operator, because while we sort of sat at the same stations all the time. You weren't always in the same station. We had to plug in. So perhaps whatever I did or whatever that other person did at the time. And we're not supposed to hold for long. I was thinking person-to-person calls. Now, nobody makes person-to-person calls anymore, but they were a heavier charge. The idea was the person calling person A would only talk to person B, and that's when the charge would start. And that would be very expensive. So you'd actually have to wait to get on the line till the people were actually doing their personal business. And there were also these holds, you know, how before the ubiquitous 800 numbers, and you would get charged for standing on the line. The people with, I guess, short money would come on and say, could you please wait, and not charge me until I get somebody. So we would do that, which wasn't really something we were supposed to do either, but different times. Look, it's almost 6 minutes already. It already killed close to 20 minutes of your life if you watched all 3 videos. Thanks a lot. Mrs. Chester promises she will no longer talk about those operator days, even if something comes up. Okay? Thanks. Bye.